Lashpreneur friends. If you hear a little bit of a cackling sound in the background, that would be my kid's Halloween toy. I'm recording this right before Halloween, and this little thing has a sensor to it that it cackles. So if you hear laughing in the background, don't worry. It's just an imaginary witch cackling at the wind. But I am low on a voice today. I've been at a conference where I got to share my story. I got to cheer a lot, so I've lost my voice. But we're going to power through today because you need to grow your lash business and you need my help. So I'm showing up for you. So thank you for showing up for me. Today, we are going to cover, as the holidays are approaching and lash artists are thinking about how to maximize the dollars spent with their business, because this is when a lot of people tend to increase their spending, they're starting to consider retail items. And I've gotten quite a few questions about retail items, one in particular that I think there is a lot of misinformation out there. And I want to make sure that I am being as clear as possible as to what the misinformation is, and definitely some research that you should be doing before you head down this path. So on today's episode, we're going to dive into lash cleansers. Okay. Lash cleansers. Now, when I first started out, I became certified in eyelash extensions in 2013. And when I first started out, there was very little info on cleaning lashes. In fact, it was still kind of the common practice to say, don't touch your lashes, don't wash them, don't do anything, just leave them be. And there are people, educators, who maybe haven't caught up with the times, that is still something that they say. And lash artists still recommend clients, don't touch your lashes, don't clean them, don't do anything, you'll ruin your retention. And that's simply just not the case. So as lashes have become more popular and as more money has been spent on researching eye health, we now have a lot more information on how eyelash extensions impact eyelash health. So most of our industry has evolved to preserve the natural lash health, not all of them. So I want to make sure that some of the myths or bad advice that may be circulating out there is just not as up to the times with the research, and we're going to kind of shed some light on that. The first thing we're going to start off with is baby shampoo. So right after we kind of realized maybe you should be cleaning your lashes and maybe don't just leave them alone, the recommendation was just use a little bit of baby shampoo, put it on your lashes, and you're good to go. While baby shampoo doesn't, it has kind of like a numbing agent that it doesn't sting. It doesn't have the same surfactants in it that sting your eyes if you were to use just regular shampoo or a face cleanser. However, baby shampoo is actually not formulated for adult skin or aging skin. It's meant for baby skin. It's also can be very drying on our sensitive eye area. So not only is it like stripping the skin of some essential oils that it needs to maintain the health of the eye area, it can also kind of create like this film over our natural lashes over time that will make it difficult for the extension or the adhesive to adhere to the natural lash because it's kind of created this barrier. So baby shampoo, I guess, is better than nothing at all. That's one approach. However, it really isn't recommended for cleansing of the eye area. There's a reason why it's meant for like babies' butts and not eyeballs. It's not meant to be a cleanser around the eyes. So while it is one alternative that wouldn't sting your eyes, it really isn't the best for someone who is spending hundreds or thousands of dollars with you over a year or more for them to be using 99-cent baby shampoo to like keep their lashes clean. Again, better alternative than nothing. However, as lash artists who want to protect the natural lash health of our clients, there really are some better options out there. The second issue that kind of brings in baby shampoo, but also I hate that I'm starting to see this more, is the DIY lash cleanser approach, which means that you are creating your own cleanser to then sell to a client. Now, I'm speaking to the US specifically. If you're in another country, this is up for you to research your regulations on what is legal and what is not. If you take anything out of its original packaging and you put it into something else, or you're adding an ingredient to it, you then become the manufacturer of it. So you then become liable for any issues with that product. So anybody who's telling you you can create your own DIY lash shampoo by taking this big bottle or this concentrate and putting it in your own foam pump and adding water to it, unless you have manufacturer's insurance, you are 100% liable for anything that happens with that lash cleanser, especially if you're selling it because you are stating that you're the manufacturer, especially when you put your label on it. So when we DIY things, it is seen under the US as a homemade cosmetic, which means that it falls under some FDA regulations. Now, I have linked in the show notes FDA regulations for homemade cosmetics, so you can do a little bit more research if that's something that you want to learn more about as to like how you could possibly do a DIY cleanser. But again, you're going to need manufacturer's insurance. So in order to be compliant under FDA regulations, a product must not be adulterated. And that basically, adulterated means that it would become impure or unsafe. So essentially, if you are taking a cleanser and putting it into a shampoo bottle and then adding in, say, tap water, that is then you becoming the manufacturer, but you may not have the purest ingredients. You don't know what's in your tap water. You don't know how it's going to react with the cleanser. You may be breeding bacteria or mold, and you may not even be aware of it. That product has then become unadulterated. If you take a product out of its original packaging, so if it is sealed, right, like most lash cleansers come with that plastic seal around it that you have to like peel off, then it becomes it becomes adulterated. Like even exposing it to air can be seen as being adulterated. So a product for sale under homemade cosmetic must not be adulterated. It must contain proper labeling. Most of you may not even know that you are required to have your business's name and address on the label. You must have the list of ingredients, and there's a specific order that the ingredients go in. So when you are taking a cleanser concentrate and putting it in your own bottle and you're just slapping a sticker with your logo on it, you are not following FDA regulations for labeling. You also have to have the net quantity of contents, like 1.7 milliliters or how many ever ounces. Like all that stuff has to be labeled on the actual cleanser itself. Again, I'm going to link to the FDA's fact sheet on homemade cosmetics. So if that's a path you want to go down, you know what that, you have access to that. So you are legally responsible for making sure that your cosmetics are safe and properly labeled in compliance with all laws and regulations that apply to them. So really, you're getting yourself at a lot of risk for just trying to DIY it yourself to save some money. I get the theory behind it that if you buy like a $15 or $20 or $50 back bar product, that you can then create your own lash cleansers and sell them for like 15 bucks. And that's mainly pure product. Maybe your product cost is like $5 or $10 and you're making that extra profit. I see the appeal to that, but is a $10 profit really worth the issues and liability that it could bring up when there are options that you would be covered under your insurance or under your supplier's insurance because they have the manufacturer insurance? I don't know that it's really worth it. So manufacturing insurance, for those of you that are building out a product suite or a product line, that is something you'll absolutely need. It is, for the most part, cost prohibitive for you to get manufacturer's insurance when you're just trying to DIY your own lash cleanser. It's anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 a year. Again, this is US based, to have manufacturing insurance, which means that when you manufacture it, you would be covered for any liability that the product would incur. So again, if you're selling your lash cleanser for $15 or $20 and your profit margin is like $10, is it really worth it? You would need to sell 150 cleansers in a year to even break even on just your manufacturing costs. That's not really including all of the other costs that would go into it. So you also need to know the shelf life. Every product has a shelf life. Again, bacteria breeding in there, mold, that kind of stuff, if it is not sealed properly, can generate there. And then somebody is putting that into their eyes. So just know that the DIY lash route is very risky, and I don't recommend it. Just to save or to get an extra $10 of profit, guys, raise your price 10 bucks. That's a way easier way to make more money than it is to just have like try and DIY it with the liability and risk to the client that it comes with. There are alternatives. So I don't want to leave you hanging thinking like, well, what am I going to do? There are plenty of alternatives out there. One that I love is my girl, Hillary Brand at My Brand Lashes. They sell cleanser sachets. So they're already sealed, labeled properly. They sell 2 sachets and the foam pump bottle and the instructions with how a client can put it together at home and like how much water they would use, that you wouldn't need any manufacturing assurance. It's already done for you and you sell it. I think their individual aftercare kits or whatever it is that they call them, the lash lather, is under $15 for your price to purchase, but they have discounts for auto ship and probably bulk pricing as well. So if you wanted to buy 15 or 20 to get a discount on your cost per item, then you can mark it up to a retail price. So you're at least making some money, but it's already done for you and it's a much safer, much better formulation even. I know Lashpreneur has their 3-in-1 cleanser that I think is $16. And for both My Brand Lashes and Lashpreneur, you can actually use, I've worked out a deal with them where they'll give you 10% off. I've linked the codes and the links below for you to apply a coupon code at the end so you can get 10% off. So again, let's save where we can and make sure that we're giving our clients the best result. I know Borboleta Beauty just released a whole bunch of new cleanser lines that are really high quality. EBL Lashes has their lash wash that starts at $13. Sugar Lash has one for $15. Bella Lash has one for $16. So there are ways for you to, at a minimum, you should be charging $20 to the client. That will definitely cover your costs with shipping and all that. If you want to have a profit margin to it, either buy a lot at a time. So the shipping is spread across more units, as well as there's usually some sort of discount for bulk purchasing. And again, bulk to some companies, maybe 10 or 20 units. And then also, you know that you're covered, that you don't have to risk any sort of, liability because the manufacturer, the supplier has that all covered on their end. So talking about retail price versus wholesale price, I do want to give a little bit of a tidbit on the difference. So there's something called wholesale and there's something called MSRP. So MSRP is the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Now, in most industries, wholesale is half of MSRP. So if we're going to sell something for $20 to the customer, then we would purchase it for $10. The manufacturer likely caught it for $5 and they've marked up their wholesale price to make sure that they're covering their profit margins as well. That's one of the beefs I have with the industry, is that we don't have great markup margins. I know some of the lash cleansers from like Grande Lash has a great markup for retail. So we buy the unit at like $32 and we sell it for $64. That's a great markup. That's a great margin. Lash products don't necessarily always have that, but still, if you're paying anywhere from $13 to $15 for a cleanser and you can sell it for $20 or $25, that still is extra money that didn't take any of your time other than to ring it up and sell it. So it's still a worthwhile investment. The biggest benefit, I will say, and one avenue that you can approach selling a client on a $20 cleanser instead of like baby shampoo, is that these lash cleansers are specifically formulated for the eye area and for extensions and working with our adhesive. That is a huge benefit to help improve retention. If you're struggling with retention, your clients should be using a lash cleanser. You should be using a lash cleanser prior to every appointment. That way we ensure we have the cleanest natural lash that will take the adhesive. Anytime there's retention issues, it's usually because there was something that happened between the edge of the adhesive and the edge of the natural lash that the bond did not happen. Whether the adhesive cured too quick, too slow, there was a film across the lash, there was makeup on the natural lash, all of that impacts our retention. So for you to begin to troubleshoot, you need to make sure that both on your end and on your client's end, that you guys are working together as a team to have the cleanest surface possible to get the best results. Especially for those oily clients or hormonal clients, they can have a lot of film buildup and a lot of sweat and oil build up that if we're not removing that, when we add extensions to a natural lash, we are increasing the surface area for bacteria to grow. This is why prior to eyelash extensions, you probably never knew about Demodex, the little lash mites, blepharitis, anything like that, because we are actually seeing it because there's more surface area for those kinds of things to hide and breed in. So it really is essential that every client go home with a lash cleanser in order to protect their investment and to get the results that they want out of it. If you have a client who's struggling to get to 2 weeks because they wear makeup, they don't cleanse their lashes, they can either continue to come back in 2 weeks, or they can push their appointments out likely to 3 weeks if they just purchase the cleanser. So do they want to keep coming back every 2 weeks, or do they want to spend the 20 bucks on the cleanser and get an extra week out of their lashes? Chances are they're okay spending the extra 20 bucks to get more out of their lashes and be more efficient with their time during their appointment and not have to have such long appointments or such frequent appointments. So that really is a great way to kind of pivot their perspective so that you're focusing on the purchase of the cleanser over what the alternative is, which is them coming more and paying you more. So to summarize, no go on the baby shampoo. Let's just put that to rest. Yes, it's better than nothing, but it really is not meant for the eye area. And if we're looking at it from a strategic marketing position, we want clients to come to us for their products and not go to Target for their products. So we want to make sure that we are educating them on the value of these lash specific cleansers and how that can help them benefit their results long term, rather than the convenience of a 99-cent little travel shampoo, which really in a pinch will work, but is not great for long-term lash use. We want to make sure that we are not DIYing our own lash shampoo. I don't care what manufacturers are saying. Do your due diligence to research homemade cosmetics and the laws and regulations around it, because you will be liable. No manufacturer is going to say, yeah, sure, you're covered under our insurance when you take our product out of it and do something to it that we have no control over. That's not how insurance works. You would not be covered. And then we also want to make sure that we are showing up as the expert, the go-to for what's best for the client's results and their natural lashes. Because if they don't have natural lashes to lash, then we don't have a client. So we want to make sure that we are approaching it as the go-to expert, that this is really what we recommend to get the best results possible, that we can't really recommend anything else but the lash cleansers that we carry. We have used these before. You can use that as a selling point, that you personally use, that you use it in their appointment, that's really going to get them the best results possible and the longest retention. So those are great ways that you can enhance your retail sales and how you can approach it in a way that not only protects you, but really is the best investment for your client as well. So I would love to challenge you to share your top tips or share your favorite cleanser on social media, and make sure you tag at the Lashpreneur so that we can see just how you're showing up as the go-to lash expert in your area. That's all I've got for you this week, guys. Have a good one.